Hello and welcome to session 8. This week is actually all devoted to giving you space and time to think about your ideas of text complexity and text selection and completing blog post number 3. And so there are no discuss activities for this week. There are no focus and reflect activities for this week. It's all about really thinking about all the things you need to do and analyze for blog post number 3. And so one of the things, I just had 2 things to point out, 2 resources that will be helpful as you go and complete that, and that is due this Friday. And so as we go down here, you'll see, again, no discuss, no focus and reflect. Just wanted to point out a resource on this resource sheet that has been available for all the past sessions. So if we go there, you'll notice that when you go to the assignment sheet, so disciplinary text set, that there is a discussion of an introduction, and unfortunately this is often missed, and so I just want to really highlight that. Don't forget to write the introductory paragraph or 2 paragraphs to introduce and set up your text set. So this introductory paragraph really describes your hypothetical group of students that you might be teaching this with. And so it could be your context of students that you're working with right now if you're in a field placement, or it can be a hypothetical group of students you foresee yourself working with. And this paragraph would discuss like what grade level, how many of these students do you think will be on grade level with their reading, what are some of the different ethnicities, do you have multilingual students? Just discuss a little bit what your class makeup will be. And again, that can be hypothetical, or you can base it on the context that you're in right now. And so that paragraph, once you write that, and again, it only has to be a paragraph or 2, so you don't have to go into an in-depth analysis of the classroom context. A paragraph or 2 is fine. But that introductory section then will help you explain why then your culturally relevant texts that you select, why they are well matched to your hypothetical context. So you'll, when you define them as culturally relevant, then you'll be connecting them to that hypothetical context and how they are well matched. Also, that paragraph of the hypothetical context will really inform what you write about for the reader and task aspect of your text complexity. So when thinking about your readers and their prior knowledge, how does that match that hypothetical context? How do those levels match that hypothetical context? So that paragraph is really important for really situating your text within that larger context. So that is one other thing. That's one thing I wanted to point out. Also, going back to the resources sheet, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of that resources sheet, there's example text set blogs. And these are blogs that have been written by students in the past that feature different things in a really good way. And I kind of, in the parentheses here, I talk about which strengths each of the blog has. But looking at these different blog posts will be also very helpful in giving you some ideas for how to organize your blog post. I don't have a specific way of how to organize your blog post besides saying have an introductory part, introductory paragraph setting the context, but there are different ways you can organize that, considering you have 3 different types of texts, and some you're doing deep analysis for and others you are not. So these examples will give you some visuals and different ways that you can organize your texts and how you present them in your blog post. Also, they're just helpful for looking at how others have described their texts and analyze the complexity, especially for those of you that might be wondering, how do I analyze for cultural relevance? How do I explain that it's culturally relevant? You might want to actually check out this science blog right here on genetics. Some very strong examples of how this science teacher brought in culturally relevant texts to open up the concept of genetics and discuss genetics and make it relevant to the students, and how this teacher describes that is a really good example. So those are just 2 things I wanted to point out. First of all, the examples here, and then also the assignment sheet that goes over everything you need, including that introductory paragraph. I wish you a good week, this week, session 8. As you work and complete blog post number 3, which is due Friday, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions during this week. Have a good week.